As the Civil War ends in Memphis, the history of the Peabody Hotel begins.
Memphis was the fastest growing town before the Civil War and the fastest growing town in the country after the Civil War. It was a boom town.
Among those who had big dreams for helping Memphis grow was Colonel Robert Brinkley. His chance meeting with a wealthy philanthropist would change the city's future.
He happened to be on a cruise liner going to England, where he met a gentleman named George Peabody, and they became close friends. Mr. Peabody was a very influential person.
After Mr. Peabody helped Colonel Brinkley find the financing to build a grand hotel, the colonel decided to name it in his friend's honor. The Peabody opened in 1869 at the corner of Main and Monroe. It cost $60,000 to build and was considered one of the finest hotels in the South. Each of the hotel's 75 rooms had gas lighting and a private bath. A night at the Peabody cost $4, and that included meals that could be eaten in its first-class dining room. The hotel had a massive, well-appointed lobby and a grand ballroom that featured a portrait of Mr. Peabody. The Peabody became the social center of the South. Socialites, salesmen, gamblers, railroad men, and cotton traders flocked to the hotel for dances, banquets, meetings, and reunions. In 1925, the Peabody moved to its current location at Union and 2nd Street with bigger and better things to offer. Guest rooms beyond compare, a beauty salon, a soda fountain, a dress shop, a huge connecting ballroom that was said, with some exaggeration, to be the size of Lake Michigan, and a 2-story air-conditioned grand lobby with a travertine marble fountain that would soon be home to some famous ducks, thanks to General Manager Frank Schutt.
One of the general managers out duck hunting in the 1930s or so and had a little bit too much sipping whiskey while they're hunting, is what they say, and brought some loud decoys back as a joke and put them in the fountain.
The hotel guests loved the ducks. So 5 North American mallard ducks soon would spend their days in the lobby fountain and would become the icons of the Peabody Hotel. A few years later, the hotel hired a bellman named Edward Pembroke. A former animal trainer with the Ringling Brothers Circus, he offered to care for the ducks and taught them to march into the lobby on a red carpet to the sounds of John Philip Sousa's King Cotton March. Pembroke became the hotel's first duck master, a job he held for 50 years. So began the world-famous March of the Peabody Ducks, a tradition that continues to this day. In 1939, the Peabody enclosed the east part of the rooftop and aptly named it the Skyway Ballroom. The west side of the rooftop remained open and became known as the Plantation Roof, so you could dine and dance indoors or under the stars. Big bands like the Tommy Dorsey Orchestra were big at the Peabody, so big that CBS Radio started broadcasting swing music live from the hotel. It was one of only 3 hotels to be featured nationally. In fact, the Peabody is entrenched in Memphis music history. In 1927, Furry Lewis recorded live blues sessions in guest rooms of the hotel. And Elvis Presley signed his first major RCA recording contract in the lobby of the hotel. It was typed on the official Peabody stationery of General Manager Frank Schutt. Throughout the years, the Peabody became the place where memories were made, at conventions, parties, and romantic dates.
My wife, whose name was Marilyn Hanover, and I were dating in high school. We would come here for many parties, social affairs. And our wedding reception was in the Continental Ballroom. There was nothing in the Memphis area that could compare with the graciousness and the true beauty of this hotel.
But the hotel fell on hard times in the 70s and closed its doors. The property was up for auction on the steps of the county courthouse when the Bells family stepped in to save the Peabody from the wrecking ball.
We would fall back in love with it every time we walked through because there were so many beautiful features, architectural features in this property that you don't see in current hotel construction. And that's why we finally resolved that not tearing this hotel down, but rather to devote ourselves for how long it took to figure out a way to redo this hotel and reopen it and bring it back to its glory. At the same time, doing the same thing for downtown.
The renovation took 5 years and $25 million. It was worth the wait.
The Peabody reopened in '81 is the ultimate symbol of a rebirth of the heart and soul of downtown Memphis.
On September 1st, 1981, the Bells family lined up for the official ribbon cutting, ushering in a new era with new leadership for the South's newly restored Grand Hotel.
We may have 3 generations of the same family working here at the same time, and they are proud of it. And I think it's one of the things that makes the Peabody employees so hospitable to guests.
With a heavy dose of that Southern hospitality, the Peabody has hosted famous actors, athletes, rock stars, royalty, and every sitting U.S. president since Harry Truman.
Both President Bushes, President Reagan, President Clinton, anywhere from Frank Sinatra to Sammy Davis Jr. to Michael Jackson to we've had Oprah here, Katy Perry, you name it.
From celebrity sightings to family celebrations, thousands of stories have been made at the Peabody Hotel.
As long as there's a Memphis, there would be a Peabody. And this Peabody Hotel should get better and better.
The Peabody Hotel, the crown jewel of downtown Memphis.